Brad.
And I'm Bailey. And this is Lash Lures. Today I'm going to be demonstrating how to make plastic baits and showing you all the products we use. So first I have the colorants and the glitters we use. We usually use the bait plastics, colorants, and glitters. So first we got the liquid ones. We use these mostly, as you can see we have a lot more. But then we also have the powder colorant, which is, this one's white pearl. It adds like an extra shine to your plastic baits. And next we have our plastisol.
Now the plastisol, we typically get in a 5-gallon bucket, but we find it easier to manage in a 1-gallon milk jug. We just clean out the milk jug and put it in this. Now when you're getting ready to heat up the plastisol, it is very important to have a high quality Pyrex measuring cup. Typical measurements, and depending on how many worms or baits we're making, we either use a full cup or a half a cup. Every once in a while, if you don't have much, you can use a 1/4 cup, and you heat this up in your microwave. Now, when you're heating it up in the microwave, you always want to make sure, you know, you're not overheating it, because the plastisol will burn and it smells horrible.
So next we got our molds. Right here we got the regular stick bait. Then we got the crawfish, and then we have like an eel looking worm with like the extra long tail. And so what we usually do before we start with anything is we use this worm oil also from bait plastics. We like to store it in this little spray container so that we can just spray it real quick right before we pour our molds. And these ones right here are called closed injection molds, and you need clamps with them. You just put a clamp. We usually use 1 or 2 clamps. We put one on the side, one on top. And then right when our plastisol is ready and all heated up, you just inject it and suck it into here, and then you just inject it into the mold. And you wait about 1 to 2 minutes for them to set. Then you can take everything off, open up the mold, and they'll be all set. And then you just place them in the cold water, and just wait a little bit, and they'll be all ready.
Lastly, we have some of our PPE and our protective equipment that we use. It is very important to use gloves, because that plastisol is very hot. Another product we use, protective equipment we use, is masks. A lot of fumes from the plastisol. Just to be on the safe side, we always wear masks. Another thing that you're gonna need is a temperature gauge. When you're stirring up the plastisol, typically 350 degrees is where you want it. And so what we'll do is I'll either stir it with this, or we'll stir it with this, or a knife. You're gonna want a knife, and get it up to 350 degrees, and usually it's ready for a colorant. And we also have our microwave. This is a 1200 BTU microwave. It works perfectly, especially for heating up multiple containers of Pyrex containers.
So the first step is determining which colorants you're using and which glitters you're going to be using. Today we're going to be making a black one with chartreuse tail. That's going to work good with the stick baits and also for the tips of the crawfish. So for the glitters we're going to be using black, and the holographic glitter. So the next step you want to do is get your plastisol ready. You're supposed to shake it well for about a couple minutes. We already did that before we started filming, so it's all set, and we're just gonna need to pour it in here right before we mix our colors. We're gonna be doing half a cup of chartreuse and a full cup of black. That's half a cup for the chartreuse. And there's a full cup for the black. Next thing we're gonna do, you can either do both or one at a time. Right now we're gonna be only doing one at a time, is put them in the microwave. Oh, and the coloring, this is what it looks like before the microwave. It looks like kind of like milk with like glue kind of. And then you just put it in the microwave. We usually do about 2 minutes 45 seconds. That's what works best for ours.
Hi. Now, next important step is your PPE, your personal protective equipment. Got my mask on. We're gonna keep our mask off this time just for filming purposes, but it is very important to wear your gloves. You do not want to get burned by that plastisol. It is very hot when it comes out of the microwave. Like I said before, it's about 350 degrees. So, Bailey put the plastisol and the Pyrex in the microwave already. And what we're gonna do is, we typically heat it for about 2 minutes and 45 seconds.
That's about a full cup though.
That's for about a full cup. So it's gonna be somewhere around 2 minutes to 2 minutes and 30 seconds. So I'm gonna put it in 3 minutes and we're gonna check it every minute.
Yeah. So it's been about a minute. Still hasn't really done much. You still gotta mix it up though. Just use our knife to stir it around real quick. You just put it back in because it's not ready yet. And we're gonna wait another minute. And you can tell there's been a lot of change. It's a little bit more clear now. There's a little bit foamy on top. And now we're gonna check the temperature of it. See if it's at 350 yet. This will not work if it doesn't reach 350 degrees.
You can see that the temperature, it's going up pretty quick. Right now it's just catching about 300. Yeah, it's passing 300. It's about 325. Yeah, it's about 325, so maybe a little bit longer, maybe 15 seconds.
So this is only 2 minutes. Maybe about 15 seconds, and you can see the bubbling went down, and it's a little bit more clear. Stir it up again, check the temperature.
Perfect.
Yep.
350
right there.
350 degrees. All right. So now our Pyrex is ready, and we're gonna add our coloring.
So this one's gonna be the chartreuse, and it's about We use about 25 for a full cup, so this one will be between 10 and 15. And you just gotta stir it in. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. See how that looks? Looks like we need more. That was 13. Do 14, 15, 16. I think we need more.
That should be good.
And this one we're not using any glitter, that's only for the black.
So now it's ready for the molds. So we already prepared the molds, all 3 molds, with the worm oil. We just sprayed it in there, rubbed it in with our fingers. Gives it a nice shine, and it releases the baits fairly easily.
So now we just want to close up the molds, put a clamp on.
We're only going to use 1 clamp. That's really all you need.
And then get the injector. Just put it right in there. And then we're just going to transfer it over.
Put the injector right into the hole. Press
You're going to feel a little bit of pressure come up, and then that means it's full. Then you come to the top, and then you want it to overflow a little bit. Because the air pockets, it'll make it go down, and then you'll run out if you don't fill them up all the way. Then we got to do the crawfish one now. And that's it. Then you just want to still top that one with what we got left. You can see this with the stick worm, it's already starting to go down. We should just cut that part out. Stop it. So now it's been about 2 minutes and they're all set. Now we just gotta check them. Start by taking off the clamps. And then these are the stick worms and they came out really well. See that? But for this video, we're not doing just the full worm. We're gonna be cutting off just the tips so that we can make the rest of the worm black. And we're gonna be cutting that in a little bit. And then now we have the crawfish. That came out well too. See that? This one we're just gonna be using the claws and then making the black body later. So then we're also gonna cut that.
So for the type of bait we're making, we're going to be cutting right in the armpit of the crawdad. We're going to be cutting that off so it looks like this, because this is going to be a multicolored bait. And then with the excess, you just throw the excess right into your Pyrex, and we'll melt that up later if we want to make more. Now what Bailey's doing is he's putting that back in the mold exactly the way it was formed. Then we're going to do the same thing with the crawlers. We're going to cut those approximately 1 inch each worm, okay? And then placing that back into the mold. And what this is going to do is create a nice tip on a black crawler.
It's gonna stand out very well for like the presentation of the stickworm. And then for these excess, just throw it right back in there. We'll chop these up.
We'll cut these up into little bits.
Yeah. So now we're gonna be doing the black color as part of the worms and the crawfish. And I'm just gonna be putting this in the microwave. This one's gonna be a little bit longer, about 2 minutes, 45 seconds. Still looks the same. Just it looks a little bit more watery now. Just gotta mix it up real quick. Gonna make sure it's cleaned off from the last time. And then we'll just check it back in another minute. See the foam on top, and it's a lot more clear now with the little bubbles inside. This time we're gonna check the temperature, see if we're at 350. Yeah, running good. Yeah, that's it.
It's ready?
Mm-hmm. So now we're going to be adding the black colorant, and we're also, this time we're going to be adding the glitter.
So here's the black.
Do you want to stir? So this time it's going to be about 25 drops since it's a full cup. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 24, 25. That looks about good. A little bit more.
Yeah, it's a little translucent, so we'll put in a couple more drops. Now we'll put in the sparkles.
So first I'll do half a teaspoon of the black. Right there. And now half a teaspoon of the holographic.
The black usually gives it the plastics a good accent, and I find the lighter color sparkles, usually that's where you get your intense sparkle from. And you can really tell after the worm is cured and cooled how well you're like, wow, that's a really good sparkle on that thing. I definitely will catch a nice sized bass. All right, so this is good and stirred. Now Bailey's gonna close up the molds
With the chartreuse tails that we had from before. Just close these. Put the clamp on. And then the crawfish. And then just get the injector. Cut it. So I just want to go right over here. Fill that up. And just do a little overflow.
Top it right off.
Yep. And now the worms. Then once you feel that pressure, just come up and top that off too. And then just put the excess right into there. Okay.
Now
So now we gotta check them, see how they did. This one's gonna be the crawfish. That looks pretty good. Then you just take it right there, put it off right into the water, and then throw the extra right in there.
the water firms them up really good. And that's going to be a very good attractant to a bass or a striper or whatever you're going for, because they're going to see that in murky water or clear water. They'll see the action, they'll see the colors.
So now we got the stick baits. Oh wow.
Wow, those came out amazing.
Just
Nice
take these,
sparkle, nice shine. Wow.
Looks really good. Then you just gotta take each one, throw them in the water.
Firm them up.
And now we're gonna do what we can with the extras.
Now, while these are firming up in the cold water, what we typically do is we determine, do we want to make the same type of worms, which those came out excellent. So I'd be up for making the same type of worm,
Yeah,
with the chartreuse tip. Or you could decide, hey, I'll just heat up the black with the sparkles and do, you know, as many of the solid black worms as possible, stick worms as possible. I'd like to make some more with the chartreuse tips.
Yeah.
How about you?
sounds good.
Yeah. So what we got now is we're going to be reusing some of the baits that we made earlier, because we made those over there and we decided to make some more because they came out so awesome. So I'm cutting this up into little bits, easy as enough, where you can see all the little parts in there. I'm heating that, cutting that up, and I will be putting that back into the microwave. Now, when you're reheating, you definitely have to babysit it. You're going to want to put it in for about 2 minutes, but check it every 30 seconds or so. Give it a little stir and then check it again.
It's a lot easier to burn when you reheat.
So I'm going to put it in for 2 minutes. All right. See, now you can see that it's starting to liquefy. And it's stirrable. So I give it a nice stir. And then put it back in the microwave.
This will only be a little bit longer.
This,
yeah,
yeah.
pretty close.
Oh yeah. Bubbles. Remember that weird pop? Oh yeah, this is ready. Wait. Yeah.
That's ready.
All right. You want to do the crawdad?
Can you lean it over a little? You just want to lean it so you can get as much in the injector as possible. So we're going to start with the crawfish.
That should be good. I'll stand it up.
Now
I'm gonna stand this up so it
the worms.
goes right down to the tip where we need it.
Get that little excess.
And just for the heck of it, I always like trying with a plastic mold, just to try to get rid of some of the excess. And this is never enough to fill up a whole one. But you can see if you did have enough, you'd be able to make a complete mold. And we will do some of those today. So while the chartreuse tips are firming up inside the molds, I am cutting up the black into smaller pieces, more meltable. That's even a word. And these are gonna melt a lot easier than being in one solid chunk. So put these back in the microwave, and the same thing. Start off around 3 minutes and see where that goes.
Checking stick worms again. Look like they came out well. Just gonna be using the tips though. Did look like there were some air pockets, but that's okay because we're only using the tips. If you want to cut them.
Yeah, every once in a while, you might want to show them a mistake. If you get that, don't worry about it. Remelt it, inject it. We just didn't put in enough plastic to fill up the mold. Before I cut these though, I do want to check this stuff in the microwave.
Why did you end it?
I didn't.
Now, the stuff in the microwave is ready. So I'm going to stir it. Get it ready. And now we'll cut the tips, and Bailey will place them into the molds.
Some came out good. You just gotta close them up. Just clamp them up. So now we're gonna fill up the rest of the molds with the black.
It came out nice.
Yep.
And I will attempt to pour this in nice and smooth.
Nice.
Perfect. That's how the other one should have came out. Now I do my second one. And why not add a black tip to this tail? And we can cut off the excess.
So before we take out the other ones, these ones are ready from last time. They're all set. We usually put these right on a paper towel or napkin. Let them dry off real quick. And now we can take out these new ones. So these are the stick worms. Yep, they came out good.
They came out really good.
And just take each one of these off.
What you're looking for is solid form, and that they they melted together with the first color, the chartreuse, because we put those chartreuse in separately. They were already firm, and we wanted to make sure that they melt together properly, and which they did. They look really nice, really nice.
So now we got the crawfish. It's also came together pretty well. So there's no separation when you pull it apart. Mix this in there.
It's come out really good. Now this is the open mold. You obviously saw Bailey making the closed mold cast. This is the open mold. Now obviously you can see this one. I was just goofing around. Didn't really come out that well. That will probably be garbage, or it definitely will be garbage. Now these two came out very good. Now, you can tell the detail that it picks up from the mold. You can see the markings on it. I'll probably use this one. I like the color, I like the sparkle, and I like the design. It came out really good. I'll introduce that to the chilled water. And the one thing I like about these silicone molds is that your plastics come out of them really easy, especially after using your worm oil. But I do like the designs that it makes. Hi, thanks for joining us today. I'm glad you got to join us and see different styles and different ways and different uses for our plastics.
And if you would like to purchase any of our worms, we make lots of other colors and anything, like we have customizable. Just check out the link below for either our website or other things. And then if you would also like to make your own worms, you can just we'll link all the websites that we use to buy all these.
Good products. So I'm Ryan.
And I'm Bailey.
And this is Lash Lures.